The human body hides a major threat right in plain sight. Hidden beneath your muscles, wrapping tightly around your internal organs. This is visceral fat. It doesn't just sit there. It acts like a silent intruder, hijacking hormone signals and increasing inflammation without warning. Many try to change how they look, unaware that the most dangerous transformation is happening deep inside. Scientists call this metabolically active fat. It constantly communicates with your system, releasing cytokines, blunting insulin sensitivity, and quietly rewriting your body's metabolic priorities. Understanding visceral fat isn't about aesthetics, it's about longevity. Reducing this specific fat drastically lowers cardiovascular and diabetes risks. And the most accessible way to start? Walking. An action so simple, its biological power is often drastically underestimated. But here is where the curiosity begins. Walking doesn't burn visceral fat immediately. There is a precise metabolic moment when the switch is flipped. Once you understand that moment, every step you take in your daily life will carry a completely different meaning. Walking is the most universal movement. No equipment, no complex technique, just your body working with gravity and rhythm. But sustainability is key. High-intensity workouts burn energy fast, but can spike cortisol, which actually inhibits fat oxidation in beginners. Walking creates a safe environment where the body is willing to release stored energy slowly and consistently. Science shows daily walking improves insulin sensitivity and mitochondrial efficiency. This is the foundation for visceral fat mobilization. Think of walking as a gentle starter motor, waking up the deep metabolic machinery inside you. But the question remains, when exactly does walking start tapping into that stubborn visceral fat instead of easy energy sources? The body doesn't guess. It follows a sequence. First is the phosphagen system, explosive energy that lasts only seconds. Then the body shifts to glycolysis, pulling glucose from the blood. In these first few minutes, fat is not yet the star of the show. As you walk, muscles demand ATP. Now, oxygen becomes the deciding factor. The steadier your breath, the more efficient the transition. Researchers call this the fat oxidation threshold. This is the point where fat finally becomes the primary fuel source. This timing varies by individual, but the biology is universal. It's not just about duration, it's about reaching this physiological state. Somewhere between the start and a stabilized rhythm, your body crosses an invisible line. You won't feel a jolt, but a massive shift is happening. Scientists observe this via the respiratory exchange ratio. Glucose steps back, and fat oxidation accelerates. Here's the interesting part. Visceral fat requires stricter metabolic conditions than subcutaneous fat. Walking provides the key to those conditions. Walking keeps the body below the cortisol spike threshold. In this stable zone, hormones actually favor visceral fat mobilization. Heart rate is your most reliable gauge. The moderate zone, roughly 50 to 70% of your max, is where physiology prioritizes fat. Too low? Activation is slow. Too high? Glucose takes over again. You need the middle ground. Don't rush. Let your heart rate climb gradually. This creates the perfect environment to mobilize visceral fat. You don't need a monitor. Breath increasing slightly, still able to talk comfortably, steady rhythm. These are signs you are approaching the golden window. And right now, in this physiological state, the exact moment visceral fat starts burning becomes clearer than ever. That moment is known as the beta oxidation shift. It's not dramatic on the outside, but inside, mitochondria begin pulling fatty acids rapidly into the production line. Indirect calorimetry studies show this shift occurs when glucose demand saturates and oxygen intake is sufficient. Visceral fat requires higher mitochondrial engagement. It only truly contributes energy when your fat oxidation machinery is running at full capacity. There is a scientifically measurable moment, quiet, internal, and precise, when walking stops being light activity and becomes a targeted fat-burning process. Visceral fat isn't just storage, it's an endocrine organ. As you walk steadily in the oxidation zone, the signals around it begin to change. Blood flow increases. Insulin sensitivity improves, making this specific fat more accessible for fuel. Over time, walking increases the enzymes responsible for lipid transport. Your body gets better at extracting energy from this specific depot. Walking stabilizes the autonomic nervous system, reducing sympathetic overdrive and lowering cortisol, the guardian of visceral fat. And don't forget the emotional factor. Mental clarity and reduced anxiety reinforce consistency, the ultimate weapon against excess fat. Science calls this the steady-state metabolic window. It is the phase where oxygen, heart rate, and fat oxidation reach equilibrium. This window doesn't open immediately. That is why 40 minutes of walking is vastly different from 20. The second half contains far more time in the optimal zone. Once you identify this window, walking becomes a strategic tool, not a random activity. However, a technical error can ruin this process instantly. Shallow breathing. If you walk while panting or taking short breaths, the body misinterprets this as stress. The diaphragm locks, and the essential flow of oxygen for fat burning is restricted. Remember basic chemistry. To burn a fat molecule, you need far more oxygen than to burn sugar. Insufficient oxygen means no fat burning. Your posture dictates your oxygen intake. Shoulders open, chest up. This isn't about looking good, it's about optimizing your airway. Deep, rhythmic breathing also sends a safety signal to the brain, directly lowering cortisol, the #1 enemy causing belly fat accumulation. Regarding pace, don't stroll like you're window shopping, too slow, but don't turn it into a jog, too fast. Apply the talk test. If you can speak a full sentence without gasping, but cannot sing a song loudly, you are in the sweet spot. This zone is often called Zone 2, where exertion is high enough to trigger metabolism but low enough to maintain pure fat oxidation. Timing is also a lever. Walking while fasted morning leverages naturally low insulin levels, accessing fat stores faster. When insulin is low, the biological barrier preventing fat release is lifted. Visceral fat becomes chemically looser. However, walking after a meal has its own power. It cleans up floating blood glucose, preventing new fat storage from happening in the first place. This is the flatten the curve strategy. A 10-minute walk after eating can be more effective than medication for immediate glucose control. Don't ignore foot technique. Heel strike, roll to toe. This activates the calf muscle pump, aiding the heart in venous return. The calf muscles are called the second heart. Every step is a pump beat, enhancing circulation to transport free fatty acids to where they are burned. Water. Fat hydrolysis requires water. Dehydrated cells will slow down metabolism to conserve energy. Drink water before you step out. Don't let your engine overheat or lack the solvent for the reaction. Occasionally, add an incline. Just a slight grade can double energy demand without high impact on your joints. Avoid overstriding. It creates braking force instead of propulsion. Shorter steps, faster cadence, more efficiency. Music or podcasts are not just entertainment. The right BPM, beats per minute, can subconsciously keep you at the optimal pace without effort. Posture, breathing, pace, hydration. These four elements turn an unconscious act into a precise medical procedure. The real magic isn't in one session. It's in adaptation. Day 30 of walking is biologically different from day 1. Your body is smart. When it sees you walking regularly, it understands. We need to burn more fat. It builds more mitochondrial factories. Blood vessels feeding your muscles become denser. Your hardware for transporting oxygen and fat gets an upgrade. Even when you stop, the benefits don't end. While not as intense as heavy lifting, walking creates a metabolic afterburn, keeping energy expenditure above resting levels. Over time, the visceral fat layer shrinks. Space in the abdominal cavity is reclaimed. The liver and pancreas can breathe, their functions restored. Chronic inflammation, the silent fire destroying health, fades away. This is the greatest gift of reducing visceral fat. Don't obsess over the scale. Visceral fat is lighter than muscle, but takes up volume. Your waistline will tell a more honest story than your weight. Your sleep will deepen. Walking regulates circadian rhythms, and good sleep loops back to support fat burning, a positive cycle. The biggest enemy now is boredom. Change your route, change your audio, but never change the habit. If results plateau, that's good news. Your body has become efficient. That is the time to add a weighted vest or increase the incline. This is an investment for your future self. Walking protects bone density, joints, and cognitive clarity as you age. We have gone from a simple step to complex chemical reactions and finally to a regenerated body. Blood vessels feeding your muscles become denser. Your hardware for transporting oxygen and fat gets an upgrade. The golden key isn't intensity, it is consistency. Better to walk 20 minutes every day than 2 hours only on the weekend. Your body is waiting for this signal. It has the machinery ready to burn that dangerous fat. It is just waiting for you to take the first step. Don't wait for tomorrow. Right after this video, put your shoes on. 20 minutes. That is all it takes to start. Remember, keep your heart rate steady, breathe deep, and repeat tomorrow. If this video helped you understand your body, share it. Knowledge is meant to be spread. Thank you for watching the entire video. Don't forget to click like, subscribe to the channel, and turn on the notification bell so you don't miss the latest videos.